welcome to Apparitions Paranormal. Or spirits, Cal, or Jose, or whatever your name is. Do you understand me?
Part of legend. They see children playing and giggling, they hear giggling, and they said they've seen soldiers.
On this episode of Apparitions Paranormal, Mark and I investigate reports from a local bar of paranormal activity, where employees and customers alike have encountered the apparition of a woman believed to be the spirit of Cora Dean, who was murdered there in the mid-1950s, and other unsettling experiences including glasses flying off countertops, sounds of voices with no apparent sources, and other events of a similar nature. It was the night of September 22nd, 1956. After a night of heavy drinking, a young woman, Cora Lucille Dean, mother of two, left the protective sanctuary of the bar's interior with a man she barely knew, but had met there during the course of her evening of festive entertainment. His name, Raymond Snowden. Little did she realize what grisly fate would soon be delivered through the merciless hands of this volatile and sadistic man. No one will really ever know exactly what happened that notorious night, but as the story goes, an argument ensued between Mrs. Dean and Mr. Snowden, whereupon, in her efforts to flee, Cora kneed Raymond. Hot and with rage, Raymond pulled out his pocket knife with its 2-inch blade, pushed Cora to the ground behind a pickup truck for concealment, and cut her throat. He soon proceeded to mutilate her in a most calloused fashion, stabbing her 35 times and severing her spinal cord. The following morning, her traumatized and mutilated body was discovered behind the Hi-Ho bar, now the dive bar, by a paperboy on his route. To make a long story short, Raymond Snowden was charged and convicted of first-degree murder in the brutal slaying of Cora Lucille Dean. He was sentenced to death by way of the gallows and hung by the neck until dead by the state of Idaho on October 17, 1957. His executioners reported his neck did not immediately break at his hanging, and it took him some 15 minutes to slowly strangle to death. Perhaps a fitting end for such a sadistic and wicked crime. Snowden is buried in an unmarked grave just outside the walls of the old Idaho State Penitentiary. In this episode of Apparitions Paranormal, Mark and I have come to the dive bar, which used to be way back in the 50s called the Hi-Ho, I believe. And after that, it was Moe's Place, and even before that, it was known as Club Savvy's. But way back, there was a murder that took place here that was really infamous here in Idaho, and we're going to be covering that story. It is the other half of the story that Ghost Adventures failed to cover when they did their Idaho penitentiary investigation.
So, closing up in this place, used to shut all the lights off and just kind of work by the light back here. And there's a couple of things that have happened that have kind of made it to where I shut the light off right before I walk out. Taking the trash out one time, there was used to be a panel over there that's had some plexiglass. And coming back in from taking out the trash, right here in my peripheral vision, as I walked past it, there was a reflection of a dark-haired woman. And I turned to look, thinking maybe somebody had, stayed in the bar or something. There was nobody there. When I turned back and look, just as I'm turning, it's fading. It just kind of fades out. I kind of wrote that off to just me being tired and whatnot. One of the former partners' girlfriends was in here one day, and we were just the two of us, and a chair over at the back tables over there slid back. There's just the two of us here. I look over and the chair has literally slid back, I mean measurably, away from everything else. We heard it, I looked, the chair was moved, it kind of creeped us both out a little bit. I think the creepiest thing, the DJ booth has a big glass window on it back there. And I was standing roughly about here, and I looked over, and there was a reflection. It was a distinct reflection. I mean, there was nobody there. I mean, I'm looking at the glass, and it was a man standing there. After that, I just kind of started closing with the lights on. Like every light in the building stays on until I'm ready to set the alarm and walk out the door.
Right.
Then I shut all the lights off and I walk out. And if I happen to catch a little glimpse of something in my peripheral vision, I just leave it alone. I figure if they're gonna leave me alone, I'm gonna leave them alone. We're just gonna, respect each other's space to some degree. Not a terribly superstitious person by nature, but I've been a couple of things throughout the years that have, just been a little odd and weird, in this place.
Awesome.
And those are the most distinct and obvious things that I just can't find another explanation for them. Either I'm losing my marbles or something's actually going on in this place. So.
Okay, so now what you were saying that there was something strange when you first took this place over?
Yeah, for about the first 4 months, I had 4 different separate false alarms. Now that's when the alarm company calls me and the police department comes out to inspect the joint because there was an alarm going off on one of these sensors around the corner over here, like one of the motion sensors.
Oh, okay. So the motion sensors were actually triggered.
Triggered 4 different times on zones 13 and zones 10 with nothing going on. I checked the cameras each time, and one specific one, the camera went off at exactly at 1 minute, and then I went to check that on the camera's recording, and it was missing and within the video feed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very strange.
That is strange.
Mark and I wasted no time but went to work straight away, gathering temperature readings, mapping the electromagnetic fields, gathering still frames, video footage, and making attempts to capture EVPs with our audio recording devices.
It's unplugged.
Okay, turn it on again. Let's see. Yeah, we got some serious EMF in here. And even if there's a natural explanation, such as wires buried underneath the
There's nothing
concrete.
underneath.
Really?
It's concrete, so.
Okay, so that's interesting. I go this way, completely goes back to 0.
Very interesting. And there doesn't seem to be any explanation for
There's
it.
no explanation.
Because you're too far away from any of these lights to really make any sense.
Yeah, this only picks up to a certain range, and we're out of range for all the electrical equipment right now for this to actually be effective. So it's picking up high EMFs out of nowhere.
Very interesting.
And it's just holding at a steady 4.
Now
to
turn
5.
off this way. Turn off this way, see what happens.
It's completely dead.
And yet it was going off just a minute ago.
Oh, it's going.
Now it's going back up.
again. It's going back up again.
Without you even moving it. Interesting.
And it's going back down, so it's dropping. The needle's in inflex. You can see that.
That's interesting. It's just staying steady. Move it up. Oh, that's interesting. What in the world? If you're able to and willing to, you could show yourself to us. That would be perfectly fine with us. You can still talk to us too if you wish. Anything jumping out at you?
No.
Not yet.
But that's how photos work. You don't normally see them until after review.
Yeah. Take one more in there. Take one more in there. But I thought I had saw somebody else besides Ben. Is anybody else here? My name's Jeff. This is Mark, my son, who's controlling and operating the camera here. Is there anyone that's within the sound of my voice that would like to talk to me today? This little silver box that I have right here in my hand would help me to hear your voice. All you have to do is speak into it, shout if you have to, just help us to hear your voice. And when we play it back, many times we're able to actually hear what you have to say. Do you have any messages you'd like to convey to the living? If you'd like to say something, anything at all, feel free to talk to me through this box. It really does work, more often than not. Just give it a try, you have nothing to lose. Is there any source for that? You can see? It's almost... That's very strange. That would be...
No source for it right here. Overhead light, but again, too far away from the box to pick up anything on the EMF meter.
That is very... And there's no wires down in there?
There's no wires through here, no plug-ins, so it's going off on its own here.
If you'll speak to this box, it'll actually help me to hear you oftentimes in real time, so we can hear what you have to say. I was wondering, is Cora Dean here? Cora Dean, are you here today? Let's move away from the... See if we can get a little bit better over here. Are you here, Cora? Loud and clear. Are you here? Make it plain for us if you can. Anyone like to talk to us? Not just Cora, but anybody who'd like to talk. You're sad? What's your name? What's your name? Can you tell me what your name is? You told me? Howard? Are you stuck here? Hello? Who am I talking to? What's your name? Can we help you with anything? Help you. Go to the bar. Did you hear them say go to the bar?
Yes, I did.
Ooh. Okay, we're at the bar. Cora? You need our help, Cora. Cora, is your birthday coming up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Infinity?
Sounded like they said 11 to me.
11? Did you say 11? Being a metal container and right with power lines right outside, I'm thinking that maybe that's where the EMF is
This
coming
could
from.
be a possible conductor of electricity, so to speak, but with EMF instead of electricity. So what's happening possibly is the EMF running through the power line is transcending down onto the metal container.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's what's going on.
But we won't know that for sure until we get further evidence.
That's interesting. And it's changing too. That's interesting.
Hard to hear me because of morning traffic after leaving the inside of the dive bar. But I'm going to take you where Cora was murdered and a recently new body of a deceased gentleman who was here to repair the roof. He fell off his ladder this winter, 2013, fell and broke his head open and died on the scene. Cora was found back here on this corner of the bar, where her body was found mutilated, stabbed several times during the horrific murders in the 50s. And this is where she was found by a paper boy early Sunday morning, the following morning after the killing.
Okay, so you're going to try to get EVPs?
I'm doing an EVP session out here, and then I'm going to shoot some still frames and see what we can't get.
Okay, let's do it.
If you're here, please speak to us. We want to tell your story. We want to be able to tell the untold story. Ghost Adventures do not properly report your particular situation being the victim. They focus their attention on the guy who had killed you.
Raymond Snowden.
Raymond Snowden, who had stabbed you multiple times, killing you, leaving your body here in the 50s. So we're here to tell the untold story that they failed to report today at the dive bar. We don't mean you any harm. We're not here to hurt you. We're just here to figure out the facts.
And we're also here to help you if you need our help.
If you need it. So speak into this box as loud as you can. Tell me anything you need. Shout it if you must.
Did you hear that? I thought I just heard a brief little woman's voice.
I thought I heard something too.
And the ghost box basically works by cycling through various AM and FM frequencies very quickly. It's kind of controversial. Some people say, well, you could be picking up human broadcasts, but the fact of the matter is, we've actually got with the ghost box actual intelligent responses to our questions, and when it's cycling as fast as it does through the various frequencies, for it just to be human broadcast, it goes by so fast that you would be lucky if you could even get one intelligible word that's of any substance. And yet we oftentimes, as you'll see, get entire sentences sometimes, which you would not get if it was a human broadcast in your, because it cycles through the frequencies so fast that would be impossible.
Oftentimes in real time, so we can hear what you had to say.
Right in there, just very light. This next one here is a grade A. It's a female voice. At the very end, when we were about ready to close out our session, she says, "Okay," and it's a grade A EVP.
Whoa.
It's a grade A EVP. That's the best you can catch. If you want to play it again, go ahead.
No. Overall, it was very interesting. I've never really been exposed to any kind of spirit or, ghost in my words. I describe it as ghosts, up front and close and personal, especially into an establishment where I'm a part of. So it was interesting to know and good to find out, and it helps understand, what can happen and what goes on in, another realm.
Well, and also too, some people just might get, especially if they haven't been exposed to these things before, might get a little weirded out by it. But the fact of the matter is, these beings are actually everywhere, all around us. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're here. Well, at least I was getting a good map of the electromagnetic fields in the place. Okay, so you can go ahead and talk to me. That's perfectly fine. Just kind of speak into this box that I'm taking pictures with here, and it'll also help me to hear your voice. Just kind of speak into this box that I'm taking pictures with here, and it'll also help me to hear your voice. Okay, we're going to have to go outside now. Okay, we're going to have to go outside now. Take one more in there. 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 But I thought I had saw somebody else besides Ben. But I thought I had saw somebody else besides Ben.
Early Sunday morning, the following morning after the killing. Early Sunday morning, the following morning after the killing. Tell me anything you need. Shout it if you must.
Did you hear that? I thought I just heard a brief little woman's voice.
I thought I heard something too. Just tell me anything you need. Shout it if you must.
Did you hear that? Interesting. Just staying steady. Move it up. Oh, that's interesting. What in the world? Maybe that's where the EMF is
This
coming
could
from.
be a possible conductor of electricity, so to speak, but with EMF instead of electricity. So what's happening possibly is the EMF running through the power line is transcending down onto the metal container.
What about you, Cora? Could you show yourself to me also? What about you, Cora? Could you show yourself to me also? Perfectly okay. I don't mean you any harm. And what about you, Cora? Could you show yourself to me also? What about you, Cora? Could you show yourself to me also? Perfectly okay. I don't mean you any harm.
And make your presence known.
Die. And you can't really say it.